Shalom, Yasharallah. First and foremost, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Chachadash. Double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to your hopeful elect Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm doing this lesson, based on Agenda 2030, in which a lot of people are talking about you have 4 years left. Talking about you have 4 years left of so-called freedom before these elite plan on having their agenda in full effect. They plan on, as they say, have everybody kragmad up by 2030. And this is, though Esau puts numbers out there, it's all going to be based on the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because no one except Yahweh knows the day or the hour. But we are going to know the times that we're living in, and the MOT to the B is a major last sign of prophecy, along with Jacob's trouble that is going to be happening in these last days, to know that we are in the end. So this video that I'm going to play, is talking about Agenda 2030. This is talking about the new technocracy that they want to put all over the world. Not a democracy where the people vote, so-called, even though this ain't even a fucking democracy. It's just the illusion of choice, the illusion that you have a choice at the ballot box where you can go and cast your vote on a local, state, and federal level, which is all just a scheme, But now the technocracy is going to be government ruled by rules and regulations that's run by AI, cameras, algorithms, everything is digital, from your ID, from the money you spend, etc. And I was online and there was a good video that popped up talking about this subject, because this is something that you have to know about, really. I know all the prophets have talked about this. You hear brothers mention this Agenda 2030 and all of their camps, no matter what camp you're watching of Great Millstone, whether they're from Los Angeles, from Florida or New York. Man, we're all speaking the same thing up here in the north in Idaho. You got brothers in Denver, all over the place, man. But the point being is that, the same message is being spoken, that the mark of the beast system is coming into place. So I'm going to read these two scriptures first, and then I'm going to come back and read that disclaimer before I play the video. But this is Job 20 and 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Verse 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Whoo, man, from the top, 23 again, when he is about to fill his belly. Filling his belly is talking about when he starts to chip up these people. When he starts to charagma up the masses, when he starts to unalive people at a grand scale, concentration camps, robots that run off eating dead corpses as their source of fuel, which I've done lessons on before. Esau has a whole robot army ready to go. Drone swarms, drones the size of, aircraft carriers, or what are those big planes? Those big bomber planes that Esau uses, those cargo planes, as well as drones as small as a little bug, as a little mosquito. Esau wants total control, eyes and ears everywhere. So him filling his belly is him thinking that he's going to make the MOT to the B system a worldwide functioning system where he can have everybody chipped up, controlled, monitored, everything. That's him filling his belly, because he is going to get 2/3 of our people. He is going to get a lot of people karagmad up, but those nuclear missiles are going to fly, which is going to pretty much put a freeze on Esau's plans until the elect come down from the chariots and start ripping them out of their bunkers where they hid from. Because at that point, ain't nobody going to be worried about nothing but straight survival. But the elect are going to come down, New Jerusalem, and clean up house. But continuing, it says, the Most High Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. And rain it upon him, it's funny, rain down these missiles is what's going to happen. The lake of fire, You know, when rain accumulates, it makes a lake, let's say that. So when these missiles rain down, it's going to make a lake of fire on Esau's ass, man. Ultimately destroying all of Babylon the Great, and as well as, you know, the Holy Land, Israel over there. But Israel is going to be rebuilt. But there's going to be different parts of the world that get hit as well. You know, parts of Russia, China, North Korea. You know, it's going to be all over the place. So the world is going to be put in a complete reset by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the elect, and the heavenly host, which is the angels. Verse 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon. And the iron weapon is talking about, you know, the nuclear missiles. And the bow of steel shall strike him through. You know, point blank, period. So, with all that being said, I wanted to start this out, you know, with scriptures, of course. And then I'm going to read this disclaimer and play this video. This is a disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for a purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So, with that being said, I'm going to play this video.
Other human beings.
So
the lust to control other human beings is a story as old as time. There's a very strong drift in the direction of globalization, of the ultimate centralization of control in the hands of unelected officials at supranational organizations.
They want all of the resources of the world in their pocket.
The bigger picture is that an attempt is underway now to collapse liberal democracy and replace it with global technocracy.
This is a coup. They're saying we can control with rules. We don't need currency anymore.
It's like an inverted prism. You are supposedly free to roam about, but everything you want to access is behind lock and key.
The potential for social control is gigantic and potentially irreversible.
They plan to commandeer land, reduce farming, and radically change the food we eat, transform the supply of electricity, and then dictate how we use it, and replace currency with a system of credits. All three strategies are built on the premise of a climate crisis caused by carbon dioxide.
I do not think there's a climate crisis, and I base that on all the evidence and the climate data sets that we build to answer questions just like that. The government is very clear that they want a catastrophic story.
There is no single science paper that proves conclusively that humans control all or most of the global climate.
Europe's mad dash towards net zero is effectively economic suicide. Politicians are purposely impoverishing ordinary people, purposely deindustrializing Europe.
It's just tremendous amounts of damage in the name of saving the planet. It does make you ask, what is it we're actually saving if we're paving it over?
I think what we're dealing with here is actually a global war on agriculture.
When you look at how many farms are selling out, we're walking into food shortages.
If I can switch everybody from real food to pharma food, then 100% of the agriculture industry can go through my publicly traded stocks, and I have complete control.
This is the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. But it's far more than that. It's a blueprint. It is the action plan.
All life on Earth is going to be radically changed.
Everything will be monitored. The environmental consequences of every human action.
The general population cannot fathom the psychopathy of the vision that they're facing.
Once the digital ID is in place, it's game over for humanity.
So, brothers, and wanted to look up this documentary, which I'm going to go look up to see if it's released or if there's a release date, you know, because this is, Esau, obviously controlled opposition, but there's so much information out there of information on the internet that people can look up and fact check and become, self-aware and what is it called? Making opinions for themselves. They're not just watching regular news outlets, they're looking at all these videos on social media, seeing that journalists and independent, researchers that have no benefit in making this information public, but this is stuff that's on the book. You have the World Economic Forum, you have the World Global Agenda, Agenda 2030, which this is a documentary called The Agenda. you know, but it just goes to show you that Esau Edom ultimately is putting together that mark of the beast system, you know. And I'm gonna, you know, not be too long-winded. The main point that I want us to be with this lesson, you know, is not to hear me talk, but to show that video and to, you know, bring the edification obviously through the scriptures, because you can't play a video Salakia like that and not bring up these scriptures, because this is exactly what we are talking about all the time, with, you know, very clear words that Esau Edom and what he's doing, what his intentions are, and what he is doing most recently in your backyard, and how it affects you. You know, in these Agenda 2030, these different laws, you know, they just passed a law talking about that they're going to be able to put kill switches in everybody's new vehicles, talking about, you know, vehicles can be shut off remotely if somebody like tries to go on a car chase, or, you know, they can limit how far you can go if you're trying to escape. You know, so Esau wants complete control in every single way. And ultimately, the way that he is going to receive that is by implanting everybody with a digital C-hip. This is Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all. Who is that he? That's Esau Edom. You know, and the heathen, because they're also going to implement the MOT to the B system in whatever country that they're in dominion in. Whether you're in Elam, whether you're a Moab, whether you're Ishmael, they're all going to transfer to the system, not just Esau. Revelation 13 and 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, whether you got money, whether you got no money, whether you're in prison, whether you're out of prison, to receive a mark, and that mark is that Greek word charagma, in their right hand or in their foreheads. You know, whether you're paraplegic, you don't have no arms, you know, let's say you got whatever it is, man, they need to be connected to your tissue, your actual body. And everybody's got a head. That's why they put it in your forehead or your right arm, unless you had a crazy accident, you know. But the point being is that it is something that he's going to cause you, you know, because he's making it impossible to live outside of his system if you don't have this, you know, technology so-called in your body. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell. You need to buy or sell to maintain, to eat bread, you know, to live in a house, to have a shelter, you know, to have the basic necessities of life. You have to buy and sell. So Esau Edom is going to make this a so-called choice without a choice, by making it mandatory for you to buy or sell your basic commodities, you know, by having this charagma. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666. You know, which is an identifier, simply plainly that it's going to be a carnal mark. You know, there's many different symbolic reasonings of that 666, you know, and all of them point towards, you know, what we break it down as. You know, don't get too caught up on the, oh, it's the 666, because that numerical code is in the barcodes. You know, the number 6 means carnal man, you know, beast, you know. So there, Esau likes the number 6, 33 degree, you know, all types of things, man. You know, go back to his satanic numerology, which is just proving that scripture is on point, because this is just an identifier, you know. But to know what it is more important, and that is the charagma, that C-hip, you know. And I believe I have a picture in here. In my camera roll right here. If I don't, but I usually have one. Let me look real quick, because everybody knows what the charagma, you know, is going to be. You know, it's a micro C-hip, you know, and I do not, looks like I do not have a picture, because we have a picture that we hold at camp that has, you know, the images of the MOT to the B on it, you know, and we like to use that to really show people, you know. But the point blank period, you know, the main, you know, message of this lesson is talking about the charagma, the technocracy that Esau is imposing with Agenda 2030, telling brothers about that documentary called The Agenda, you know, which I'm going to look into myself. I have not watched it yet, you know, but it looks very interesting. You know, brother looks like some good information on it, you know, as well as making sure that we know that Esau Edom, as successful as it may appear, that he is getting his system up and running. He has all the technology. He has all the power. He has all the people. He's gonna create a chaotic event that causes people to want to take this thing. So Esau Edom, it will appear that he is winning. When he starts to make this system full blown 100%, start corroborating people up, just like you saw those juicy juice stations get set up in the parking lots, at hospitals, outside of grocery stores, at fast food joints, all types of tents were popping up, run by the National Guard. It's going to be the same thing when people start getting karagmat up. So not to be too long-winded, Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chachadash, and double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth, and peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Akim, Akwath, Shalom.